Good morning, afternoon, or evening from wherever you are in the world. I join my voice to Dean Naix in welcoming you to a conference on a very important subject. That subject is equity. I am Jo-Ann-Rolle, Dean of the School of Business, and I bring you greetings from the Medgar College City University of New York family, our president, Dr. Patricia Ramsey, who is the sixth president, the first woman, and the first scientist. Why should we talk about equity? Why talk about income and wealth disparities now? We know that there is global unspeakable poverty in most nations of the world. The number one United Nations Sustainable Development Goal is to eliminate poverty in all its forms everywhere. So, how are we doing? As most of you might guess, not good. The UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs on Sustainable Development reports more than 4 years against poverty has been erased by COVID-19. Rising inflation and impact of war in the Ukraine further derail progress. The number of people living in extreme poverty, and that is poverty worse than the normal poverty, pre-pandemic, it was 581 million. The current estimate is projected to trend towards a billion at 676 million. Working poor, those who go to work every day, that poverty rate rose for the first time in 2 decades from 6.7 to 7.2%. An additional 8 million workers were pushed into poverty. And this is where you really see the disparities between the haves and the have-nots. In the unemployment cash benefits during the pandemic in 2020, those high-income countries, 52% of their population were able to get some benefits. But the low-income countries, those countries, the populations less than 1% actually received any kind of benefits. The disaster-related deaths rose sixfold in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. So what does this all mean for the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to transform our world? We were inspired, we were motivated, and genuinely believed that the 17 SDGs will build a better world for people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. In terms of people, we vowed to end poverty and hunger. In terms of planet, we were determined to protect it from degradation. In terms of prosperity, we wanted to ensure that all human beings enjoy prosperous and fulfilling lives. In terms of peace, we were determined to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies free from fear and violence. In terms of partnership, we were determined to mobilize the means required to implement the UN 2030 Agenda through a revitalized global partnership for sustainable development. My friends, my colleagues, it is 2022 and less than a decade to run to the UN 2030 Agenda race to a better world for all humanity. We come here today understanding we have real work to do as nations coming together to fight against the evils of poverty, destitution, suffering, and pain for the majority of the world's population. It is no longer good enough to look back to normal, as normal meant hopelessness for so many who were poor. It is not good enough to look to others to transform the world we seek. As we go through the next 2 days, let us come together with a vision of global partnership for sustainable development. And how should we do that? By listening, engaging, exploring, and learning from the work of others that may help a neighbor, a community, a city, or a country. Let's put aside our silos of discipline hierarchy and band together as multicultural and multi-generational warriors against the plague of economic inequities. We will dialogue around 3 major themes: leadership and equitable business. We need new, innovative, and empathetic leaders. Those of you who are students in the seats, the leadership in the past has not delivered transformations necessary to scale up to a more inclusive society. We are counting on you. 2, economic equity and sustainable development. Humanity is creative and resourceful, yet economic equity has eluded her. There is wealth in every country on the planet. It is just in too few hands. Heather McGhee, author of the groundbreaking book, The Sum of Us, and faculty at the City University of New York School for Labor and Urban Studies, states the problem simply and I think eloquently. Much of economic policy is designed to gut public resources and funnel wealth towards the top 1%, a billionaire class that is wealthy as the entire middle class combined. Colleagues, in a time of global abundance, the middle class is shrinking and the poor are getting poorer. 3, transitioning to Industry 5.0 in a post-pandemic world. The pandemic has changed our world forever. We must move forward. Technology can help us, but we must have the will to do better, to be more compassionate, to find the brave new world that is better for all. So I encourage you to look deeper into the topics that we will present today. Topics on organizational ambidexterity, on how multiple dynamics, capabilities work-family conflict with COVID-19, practices for liquidity management, policy consideration to improve sustained tourism, the role of compassionate leadership, sustainability concerning the information technology industry, livelihood of tribal artisans who are often left out of our dialogue, how manufacturing industries can improve, the effect of workplace spirituality, biometric analysis of workplace spirituality, the impact of social media interaction on our tourists, customer perceptions of digital banking transformation, consumer attitudes, capacity building, success factors for rail constructions, virtual e-commerce markets, the cause of delays in metro rails, and media richness as it relates to virtual teams. As the deliberations come before you, share them with others. Challenge your colleagues to move the work forward into the future, a new future that as global partners, we will build together to have a better world for all. I close with a series of quotes from the legendary leader and humanitarian Nelson Mandela, who counsel us that education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity, it is an act of justice. And a winner is a dreamer that does not give up. And finally, this is my last quote to you. It is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it. What will you do in the next 2 days? Remember, our intention and mission is to transform the world. Let's get moving, onward to the work. Enjoy the conference, and I thank you.